Okay, let's talk about going from basic math all the way up to calculus. So, a lot of you out there probably need to relearn math, and some of you had a positive experience with math in school. Some of you do not like math, but I'm here to tell you that no matter where you're at in terms of your mathematics level, okay, or your previous experience with math, you can achieve learning calculus, right? I guess that's my main message here. Anyone can do this. I really strongly believe this. Now, if you are watching this, you're thinking, okay, how am I going to go from, being terrible in algebra to being able to handle calculus? Well, I'm going to talk about some general advice on how to build up your math skills. Okay, so if you truly are serious or interested in building up your math skills, well, pay attention. I'll give you kind of a way you can kind of currently assess where you're at and give you some general guidance on how to kind of form a game plan so you can build up your math skills to get to this point. But I'm here to tell you, if you just don't even watch a video for this point forward, you need to change your mindset. If you think, okay, if there's even 1% of your brain that's telling you that I don't think I can handle calculus, it's too difficult, you got to get rid of that. Okay, I'm here to tell you that you can absolutely learn this stuff. Okay, but before I get into this, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TabletClass Math. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. I'm going to leave a link to my math help program in the description of this video, but basically I have 100 plus different math courses ranging from pre-algebra to pre-calculus and everything in between. So if you're currently a math student, anywhere from the middle school, high school, or even college level in terms of mathematics, I can help you excel in your math course. If you have to take any exam that has math on it, for example, the GED, HiSET, TASC, AccuPlacer, CLEP exam, ALEX exam, SAT, ACT, GRE, GMAT, ASVAB, teacher certification exam. You get the idea. I can help you prepare and pass those exams. If you homeschool, I have a very comprehensive homeschool math curriculum. And if you don't have any math notes, you can use my math notes. I'm going to be a nice guy about it. I'm going to leave a links to my math notes in the description of this video. But if you are a math student, okay, you must take great math notes. Okay, this is I've been teaching math for decades. All right, you just simply can't learn, um, math without taking math notes. You can't even survive one day in calculus without taking a ton of notes. But we'll get into all this, and let's get into it right now. Matter of fact, I'm just curious for those of you out there. I want you to tell me in the comment section what was the best experience you had in math and the worst. Okay, in other words, was it like, hey, I had this great algebra teacher, or did you have like, this teacher in elementary school that told you that you were terrible at math, and from that point forward, you just had this stigma, this kind of self-image that you couldn't learn math because somebody told you that. So put in the comment section, what was one of the most influential moments or teachers they had? It could be both positive and negative, unfortunately, because I've heard both sides of the stories. It's really sad, quite frankly, when I hear about somebody who remembers way back in 1962 about their teacher that told them that they were no good in math, and that kept in their brain even up to this day. Okay, and this person is 80 years old, and they're still, trying to sort that out. So, words have powers, and teachers have a great responsibility to be very careful what they tell you. And I'm here to tell you, whatever. What if you've been told you can't do math? I need you to forget all that. Right? Nobody should have told you that. Right? But anyways, let's talk about this journey from going from basic math to calculus if you decided that you wanted to achieve this in your life. Okay. Number one, it is absolutely 100% possible that you can do this. Now, number two, it's going to require a lot of work and commitment. And number three, it will require time. Okay, so I'm not trying to, paint a rosy picture here of like, oh, you could do this in like, a month, 1 month time, and you can go from here to here. No, that's impossible. Okay, but you can do this. So let's talk about how you, let's say your goal is to want to get to the calculus level. Where are you at in your current math spectrum? Well, there's a lot of different factors here. Okay, let me quickly go over this little chart here that I have. Well, not chart, but this little line. So here I have basic math. This is the kind of stuff you learn, let's say elementary school and some middle school. And then here you have pre-algebra. It's probably your everyone's first experience with algebra. It's kind of like a light version of Algebra 1. And then you take Algebra 1. This is the typical track for most people. And this is generally where high school starts. Okay, this is typically high school right here. This would be like your middle school, and then this is like elementary school. Okay, so math is a continuum, all right? It's just, and all of this stuff is important. You can't do well in middle school unless you learned a lot in elementary school, and you can't succeed in high school mathematics unless you've done well in middle school. Now, you could always relearn, but this stuff you need to know, okay? So let's take a look at high school mathematics. So typically, students starts off with Algebra 1, then they go to geometry. These are one-year courses, and then Algebra 2. Now, a college version of Algebra 2 is typically courses like college algebra. It's a pretty common course that people take. It should be somewhat comparable to a high school student taking Algebra 2. And then here we have pre-calculus, all right? This is typically it's advanced mathematics, obviously, with trigonometry. Okay, so it used to be way back in the good old days, decades and decades ago. It's not so common now. They used to have trigonometry as a standalone course, like a semester course. That's pretty rare. Okay, I don't really see that too much anymore. Trigonometry is kind of built in to pre-calculus, or you might take like an Algebra 2 trig course, which is effectively an almost kind of pre-calculus type course. Okay, so if you're taking a lot of trigonometry, you're probably in some sort of kind of pre-calculus type course, but you need that course to be ready to take calculus. Okay, so this is typically high school right here. You could take calculus as a high school student. That would be AP calculus. All right, so that's there are high schools that have AP calculus programs. Most really good high schools do. But typically, okay, for those of you that are going to go to college and end up in some sort of STEM major, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you'll be taking calculus as a freshman at college. So I would say the majority of people who take calculus take it at the university, college level. All right, so this is just a basic breakdown of where you take these courses. All right, so calculus is indeed, 99% of the time a college level course. Now, who needs to take calculus? Well, you only really need to take calculus if you are in a major that requires it. Okay, if you're a liberal arts major, typically you only need like a college algebra course. But if you're like a business finance major, okay, that you're doing a lot, so oftentimes you'll need to take a semester of like business calculus. So it's not going to be as maybe as involved as like applied mathematics, or a little bit more kind of the calculus that a mathematician or engineer would have to take. But you're still going to be doing calculus, and then there's statistics as well, etc. So I just wanted to give you kind of a map of all this stuff. Now, a lot of you, depending on where you're at, will want to go back and relearn. Maybe you want to get back to this level. So let's say you took math 25 years ago. You're like, oh yeah, I was super good. I took pre-calculus way back in 1997. I remember my teacher, I was really good at that. Matter of fact, I got an A plus, but guess what? You don't remember any of that stuff. That stuff is gone. Matter of fact, if you've taken a math course and it's like more than a year, 2 years out, you're going to have to do some significant review. This is normal, by the way, to kind of relearn that stuff. All right, so the further away you're, the further in terms of number of years you've been away from a topic, that's going to increase the amount of time it's going to be required for you to relearn something. But if you did well in like calculus in high school, or algebra 2, if your memory serves you well, then that's just a good indication you have kind of natural aptitude, I think, for learning math. Okay, so let's talk about the other extreme here. Let's say you maybe got your GED and you only went up to maybe like basic math, maybe some pre-algebra stuff. Can you learn calculus? Yes, you can. Okay, because calculus, to get to this level of math, okay, this requires maturity. All right. Now, I know that's a funny word here, but if you have to be an adult, okay, or the characteristics of an adult. If you're not a full adult yet, well, what does that mean? Now, in my little simple, vocabulary, that means somebody who's disciplined, who takes things seriously, who takes responsibility, who holds themselves accountable, who does listens to the teacher, does the hard work, really, doesn't make any excuses and just works towards their goal. That's what I'm talking about, being an adult. So if maybe got your GED 40 years ago and you want to learn calculus or 20 years ago, you can absolutely because you're a different person. Okay. Do not judge the way you were learning math when you were not in the best probably times of your life. You're a different person now. Okay. So you have the work ethic, you have the commitment, and you're just by virtue of watching this video, I'm telling you, the intelligence is going to be a problem. Okay, again, you're just going to need to give yourself time, and you're going to have to be committed to going there. So, how can you know where to start? Well, that's a whole different kind of category. If you are taking a couple different things, I'll give you some couple suggestions here. One, you can use my math help program. You can go and check out my courses. All right. Let's say my Algebra 1 course. Take a look at the topics. All right. Does that look familiar? I do have free previews of stuff. If that looks like totally like, oh boy, I don't remember any of that stuff. No, this is where you want to start. Okay. If you're brand new to algebra, you're like, I don't even remember like x plus x and none of that stuff, then I would strongly encourage you to maybe check out like my pre-algebra course. Matter of fact, I just launched a course here called Math Foundations, real basic math. It's like a little micro course, a little mini course, but just start with pre-algebra, okay? And you can move your way into Algebra 1. And you can do this right here, if you do like in my course, this might take you, a good close to a year to accomplish, right? Again, it's time. Now, geometry. Do you need to take geometry? Well, geometry is a necessary course, but if your goal is to take calculus, I would say you can kind of somewhat just peruse this course, all right? You don't have to spend a full year in it. It's important. I know a lot of people might feel differently about it, but it's more important that you get to this Algebra 2 level. Now, I am going to give you like a little bit of a shortcut, okay? If you really want to step it up, okay? You could do like pre-algebra, algebra 1, skip geometry, and just jump to pre-calculus. I know that might be kind of controversial to somebody out there, but pre-calculus, you kind of review a lot of the concepts of algebra 2. So if you wanted to just try to as quickly get to calculus as possible, I would say do algebra 1, try to jump to pre-calculus. That would be, I mean, if you did really good in algebra 1, if you felt like, okay, I can do this, at least in my math course, you could attempt to do that, take pre-calculus, but you absolutely need the pre-calculus before you get into calculus. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff you're going to need to know, and you do need to be familiar with geometry. So I would say, just review that course, but don't spend a full year in it. Maybe give yourself like, oh, I don't know, maybe 3 months. Okay, just to do a quick overview of some geometry concepts and maybe skip algebra 2. So if I had to, give you the shortest possible path to get to calculus, this would be it. But this is not by no means the recommended suggested path. The suggested path is to take these courses in order. Okay, they're all important. Pre-algebra, then in algebra 1, you review what's in pre-algebra, you strengthen yourself, and then you go to geometry. That's an important course, obviously. And then you continue on with algebra 2, and then you roll right into pre-calculus, because in pre-calculus, you review a lot of what's in algebra 2 or college algebra. And then, it's like review over and over and over again, okay, to keep building and practicing your skill sets. But I've been teaching math for decades. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. I've seen, young elementary school level students, excel in algebra 2. So there's always these prodigies and whatnot. So anything is possible. Okay, don't box yourself into, oh, this is going to take me a decade to do. Not necessarily. All right, all boils down to what your goals are, how much time. And then obviously, what's the last thing? Well, the last thing is you need a teacher. Okay, what materials? Are you going to learn this from a book? No, I absolutely would strongly recommend a teacher. Find a teacher, something, a video-based program like mine. For example, if you like my teaching style, they may want to check out my courses. But if there's other video-based math courses out there, that's probably the best thing that you could do outside of enrolling in a math course. Okay, now let me just give you one little last comment here about calculus. I would not take calculus online. Okay, I would not take calculus online. When you get to this level, you definitely want to be go into an actual classroom with the professor and whatnot. I think that's the best way to take calculus because you want to be able to raise your hand and have that kind of engagement. But you can definitely do these other courses, especially with me. Get up to pre-calculus, get really, really ready before you take calculus. So, anyways, I know I gave you a lot of different information here. Hopefully, I gave you some inspiration. Okay, so I know I gave you information, but my main really goal of this video is to give you some inspiration. Okay, meaning that you can do this. It's a case by case basis. You know, your situation is different than the next person, but you're going to have to figure out where your starting point's at and then figure out what your goal is. But I'm here to tell you, okay, you can do this if you truly want to do this. So if this video was helpful in some small way, please go ahead and consider smashing that like button. That definitely helps me out. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, hopefully you'll consider subscribing. I've been on YouTube for a long time, 10 plus years, have over 1,000 plus math videos, basic to advanced math. A lot of this stuff you can, if you like my teaching style, you can get in there and learn a ton of stuff. But you really want to get into a more like formal course program. Okay, so things like I offer in my Math Help program. So my Math Help program is where I offer my best stuff. Okay, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.